Hello and welcome to this workshop on intermediate statistics in SPSS. We've called this workshop Intermediate Statistics in SPSS, not because there's some objective measure for the level in SPSS that you've reached, but mostly because it's a follow-up on the introduction to SPSS that we've discussed in Research Methods 1 in the course in the previous period. And so in this period we offer these workshops, and for those who choose to continue on to use SPSS in their project, for example, or in the future even further, that applies mostly to a lot of the social sciences, but some other fields outside of that as well. We're offering this continuation to get you acquainted with, first of all, the program itself, but secondly also working with real data, because in the first lab session that we had in Research Methods 1, we did work with SPSS and we did cover quite some ground, but we didn't really work with real data. We worked with practice data, and that practice data was set up for you to kind of succeed in doing it. Whether or not you succeeded is of course up for debate, but we're learning here. Today in this workshop, or in the next couple of days, or however long you want to take doing this workshop, you'll be doing analyses on real data, which is larger but also more confusing because of it. There's more variables, there's more measurements and all that stuff. You'll discover this as we go along. And this is my first little introduction to what we're doing. So what you see here is the website for the Methods Lab. This is our homepage. And you can scroll through it, you can see what we all do, but the main thing that we're interested here is the workshops page. So if you go to methodslab.nl, this is what you get, but if you go to methodslab.nl/workshops, then you get a list of all the workshops that we're offering. You know this because you registered to this workshop through this file. What you may not have noticed, and what we're looking for today, is the page specifically for the workshop itself. So the website can be slow at times, at least for me. But here's where you found the workshops and you signed up. And then the page for the Intermediate Statistics and SPSS workshop is over here. And so that's one way to find it. Alternatively, you can go through, and then, there's a link here that says workshop materials. We want to click that. But we can also get through that in case the link is gone. We can go to resources and then quantitative methods, and then there should be a link to SPSS as well. And on that page, we should find a list of all the links that we have. It's not that much yet. Here you see links to the videos that we've done for statistics in Research Methods 1. Just as a refresher, they are available here. But also here's a link to the workshop materials for intermediate statistics in SPSS. So you can click this and then it brings you to the page that we want. We need this to get started. Again, it takes some time. I don't know why the site is so slow for me, but it is. Here's a link, or here's a bunch of links, and it's ordered into the sections of the things that we'll be doing. So the first thing that you want to do is open up the exercise instructions. I've already downloaded this. That is a Word file that looks like this. Just close these things here. And it's familiar to you if you've done the workshop in Research Methods 1. It's kind of a follow-up to that. It has different sections. There's 6 sections that you can do, 5 that you're asked to do if you do this workshop for credit, basically in Research Methods 2. But then this should look familiar. So we do measures of association and crosstabs, which is correlations, but then also correlations, so to speak, of variables that are not scale variables, not interval or ratio variables, but for example, 2 nominal variables, or an ordinal and a nominal variable. We can associate those as well, and we can have measures, expressions of how associated those are too. Then after that, we start working with the real data, as I was mentioning before. And this real data comes from a data portal, and there's actually a video on the website that will explain more details of this. Then we will work with syntax. Again, there's another video of this. And then we go into multiple regression analysis, which is basically the regression analysis that you've done before, but now we expand it with more independent variables. And then after that, we have a section that has to do with dummy variables. So these are 0, 1 variables that are basically a way to incorporate nominal variables into things like a regression analysis. Again, there's another clip of this that's on the website that you can watch if you want to. And then finally we have factor analysis, which is optional but recommended, as it says here. So I said there was 6 sections. It's actually 5, out of which 1 is optional, which is this. Factor analysis is more of an advanced technique relatively to some of the other things that we've talked about, but it might be an interesting technique for some of you, depending on exactly what you want to do. I was wrong. There is actually a 6th. There's ANOVAs and t-tests, sorry, which is actually a relatively basic test, but one that not everyone needs to know about right now. But it will be helpful for you to go over, depending on the type of research that you intend to do. So there's little introductions to these sections. Read through them to see if it's useful to you. This last section is interesting also because it's using data that was collected by UCM students in the context of a Marble project, which was called Pierce at the time, the course, but it was Marble now. So that's what we're doing. You can take as long as you want about this. We do want you to kind of send us your notes, just so we know who's been doing the workshop, and also for us to be able to improve the workshop for next year, to kind of tinker with things that work or don't work and require more explanation, etc. Back to this website, what you see here is all the documents that we need. So these are the instructions. Then there's a work.sav file, which is a data set that is still a practice data set that you're working with to get started. And then the second section here, sections 2 to 5, they work with this data, which gets to real data from the GSIS registration page. It's a portal for a lot of data sets. And there's another little clip of how you download that data, as I said. Then this is the data for the Marble data that I told you about just now, and the questionnaire that they used, if you want to look at this. And at the very bottom, there's an exercise answer key. So you can, it's a document that kind of gives you the answers if you want to. Of course, that's not a good place to start. You want to start with the instructions and then try to suffer through all of this yourself. But once you're done, and if you need input from us, of course, we are available to answer your questions. And then at the end, there's the answer key for you to kind of self-correct and check what you've done right or wrong in this. I hope you have fun doing this, or at least that you learn something, preferably both. In any case, I hope to see you again soon.